If winter 2026 was the season of sequels, then spring 2026 is certainly the season of new shows, because there is a lot that I could be talking about in this video, most of which I will be talking about, and very few of them are sequels. Not that there aren't noteworthy sequels, there are a couple that I will specifically talk about, but man, there are a lot of new shows that are worth at the very least keeping your eye on, if not just outright watching from the get-go. So let's get right into it without any further ado, because spring 2026 looks like it's going to be a big one. Sequel-wise, I have to start off with the final core of the final season of Dr. Stone. I have really enjoyed this show since it started in 2019, which I cannot believe it's been almost 7 years since the show started. It still feels like a new show in my mind, but yeah, not really at this point. The most recent core from the summer was fantastic. This entire fourth season so far has been great. Fantastic show through and through, and I really, really hope it can stick the landing. Certainly, if the quality so far is anything to go off of, I really shouldn't have anything to worry about. Definitely what I'm looking forward to the most from this season. The other sequel I want to acknowledge, of course, is the fourth season of That Time I Got Reincarnated as a Slime, which you probably heard the news that this is getting like 5 cores, 2 right now back to back in spring and summer. We don't know when the other 3 are coming or how exactly they're going to be formatted, if it'll be like back to back or it'll be 2 more cores and then a 5th core at the end, or how it's going to be. But just getting 5 core and knowing about it right now is insane. So in essence, we're getting like 2.5 more seasons when you consider every other season of Slime so far has been 2 core. So that's nuts. But it is nice to know that this show will be going on for a while, because I have enjoyed it a lot. Even though, yes, season 3 definitely overused the characters sitting around in a room talking about stuff. I don't dislike that as much as a lot of other people, but even I will admit there were points in season 3 where they were just talking about stuff that did not matter, like at all. It's like, you're getting into the minutia, man. The weeds, we don't need to be here. We're not gardeners. What are we doing? So I hope season 4 does not contain as much of that, but I have enjoyed this show a lot. Again, looking forward to more of it, especially considering we are getting a lot more of it. And then to get into the new shows, I probably have to start with Hat Atelier first. This is easily the most hyped up show from this season. In fact, it was supposed to come out last year and got delayed, which I know will concern some people about quality and if it'll look as good as it should, but based on the PV, this thing looks fantastic. And it's not surprising that this is well regarded. A lot of people have thrown this up there as far as like genuine fantasy shows. I think it's interesting that this is going to take the angle of having magic be something that's not exactly publicly accepted in the show. It's something that people who practice it have to hide. I think that's an interesting way to go about it, especially given the main character, Coco, is someone trying to learn magic, and I'm really interested to see where it ends up going. I hope that it will live up to the hype. This is probably a show I'm just going to straight up watch from its premiere, which will be 2 episodes, as we have recently learned. So yeah, give this one a look, because it will probably be one of, if not the most talked about shows from this season. Next one I want to talk about is Liar Game, and this caught my eye because it is a high-stakes game series that's supposed to be keeping you on the edge of your seat, and it's animated by Madhouse, which of course gave me Kaiji vibes. And I will say, when I saw that PV and I saw the characters in that big room where they're playing the game, it really took me back, as it reminded me of the room in the cruise ship where they're playing the first game in Kaiji. It doesn't seem like it's going to be literally the same room. Like, I don't think this is in the same universe as Kaiji or anything. Certainly the character designs do not indicate that. But so the whole idea here is a bunch of these characters are invited to play the Liar Game, where they have to deceive and trick the other people in the game in order to win a whole bunch of money. And the main character is someone known for being very honest. And her whole journey seems to be, throughout the series, learning to kind of use that honesty as a weapon. And I think it'll be intriguing to see how that is applied, how this character can kind of remain honest in a sense while still also using it to deceive other people. I think that could be very entertaining. So as long as this show keeps you on the edge of your seat, it'll do its job well. I don't know if this is something I'm going to watch weekly, but I definitely want to see how this turns out, because this could be a very entertaining piece of media if it's done correctly. Another show I'd be remiss not to talk about is Daemons of the Shadow Realm. Yes, the Shadow Realm is finally real, and 4Kids has nothing to do with it. This is notable because it is not only being done by Bones, technically their spin-off studio, Bones Film, but it's also from the same creator as Fullmetal Alchemist. And certainly when you look at the PV and you look at these characters, yeah, they definitely look like they could have been in Fullmetal Alchemist. For that alone, this is something to keep your eye on. a nice battle action series in a fantasy world from the creator of Fullmetal Alchemist, from Bones, even if it's technically a spin-off studio, that is something to be aware of at the absolute least. Another series that caught my eye is Kusunoki's Garden of Gods. This seems like a really relaxing, I don't know if I would necessarily call it Iyashikei, though I will note a number of sites do list it as that. We'll see. We'll see. I'm not ready to make judgment on that yet. But I would expect this to be a generally pretty chill slice of life series. The whole idea here is it's set in the countryside, which is a good sign if you want to be nice and relaxing. The main character, Kusunoki, basically has to take care of this house full of all of these spirits. And presumably we'll meet new spirits every episode, and we'll see how he contends with them, learns to live with them. And look, as a premise, that sounds great. That sounds right up my alley. And the PV looks like something that will appeal to me. So again, this might be a show I just watch right out the gate. Whether or not it ends up actually being an Iyashikei, or at least being an Iyashikei by my relatively strict definitions, it's still a show I think I will enjoy. So if it sounds like something you would too, put it on your watch list. Then we have 3 pretty good looking, cute rom-coms to talk about. I don't know if all of them will necessarily hit the mark at the end, but again, shows that I would suggest keeping your eye on. And if one of them catches your eye specifically, try watching it weekly. I think all 3 of them have potential. The first one we'll talk about is I Want to End This Love Game. And this does, to some extent, premise-wise, give me some Kaguya-sama vibes. The whole idea of these 2 characters who like each other, but try to play this game to try to get the other 2 to admit that they like each other. And the vibe that I am getting from this, and I could be wrong, is that unlike Kaguya-sama, which was, I would argue, much more so a comedy series with romantic elements, at least for most of its run, this feels more like a romance series with comedy elements, if that makes sense. I think the romance will be much more of a prominent feature throughout the series run, with the comedy being secondary. Whereas Kaguya-sama's biggest strength was its comedy, more so than the actual building up of the romance, at least, again, for most of its run. But this looks cute. It looks fun, so keep your eye on this one, certainly. Next, we have one that, title-wise, was a little bit off-putting at first, but the more I looked into it, the more this sounds fun. And that is, I made friends with the second prettiest girl in my class. So the girl who is generally known as the second cutest girl by the students at large ends up becoming friends with the main character, Maki. I wouldn't necessarily consider a show like this to be super deep, but it does look cute. It looks fun. It looks heartwarming. And if that's what you want out of your romances, this should check all of those boxes. So yes, the title is, I don't know, it probably could have been cleaned up a little bit, but again, I see potential in this one for just being a nice, cute, wholesome rom-com. And then the third rom-com I want to talk about is The Ramparts of Ice. This is relevant because it is from the same creator as the currently airing You and I Are Polar Opposites, which I still need to get around to watching. I kind of wish I had been watching that weekly, but I will watch it. I'm going to catch up, but it's from the same creator. Should be a good show if that show's quality is anything to go off of based on how it's been received. This is also going to be releasing on Netflix weekly, so that is potentially a nice boon to it if that is an easier way for you to watch it. This seems like it will have a bit more drama to it than the other 2 series, but if the reception of You and I Are Polar Opposites is anything to go on, this should hopefully be of similar quality. This video hopefully will help you narrow down what you're going to watch for the season, because there is a lot. Even more shows that you could watch that I didn't mention. This is a big season, and for anybody looking for a slimmer roster of shows to consume for the next 3 months, unfortunately, I don't think you're going to be able to achieve that. So thank you so much for watching. Like and subscribe if you enjoyed. Let me know if there are any shows that you're looking forward to in the comments. And until next time, take care, everyone. Look forward to the next video.